Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today, what I'm going to go through is how much money can you actually make as an online coach? Now, the money of that is absolutely massive, but what I'm specifically going to focus on is how much money can you make as just you, an online coach. So no agencies, no staff, no hiring, no admin support, no VAs, nothing. How much can you do just on your own? Now, before we get into it and map out that business model, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification to let us know when you do more videos, and we're going to get right in. First thing first, why would you even want to just run a business on your own? And there's a couple of reasons, and we actually hear it from quite a lot of online coaches. The first one being that obviously if you do work on your own, your margins are extremely high. You can literally, if you wish to, run an online coaching program on basically 90% margins, maybe even more. You've got some minor software costs. You maybe need to pay someone in the early days to learn how to do everything in the first place. But once that learning is done and your business is in a good place, you don't have to continue to keep doing that. So your margins become extremely high. Even once you pass £85,000 a year in the UK and you register for VAT, you can probably still run on nearly 75% margins. That is really useful if you are somebody that just values doing the work yourself, having the cash in the bank, and you're not in a situation where you want to pull a lot of time back from the business and you actually enjoy every part of the business. So that's one thing. Number two is if people don't want to hire. Sometimes as online coaches, we have people that come in that are 19, 20, 21 years old, earning silly amounts of money, wanting to scale a team, and they turn around to us and they go, you know what? I don't feel like I'm in a position in my life where I want to be in charge of someone else's money. I don't want to have to look after someone else. My mum's basically only just stopped wiping my ass, and I don't want to be in that position where I'm having to, be responsible for someone else. And that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter at that point whether you want to do a few years on your own, let that responsibility settle, even just managing your own finances for a while before you start to hire staff. The third reason might be that either you're not well trained at the skills themselves, you want to do them for longer to make sure you can train someone else, or just for whatever's going on in your life at the time, you don't have the availability of staff around. You don't have people that you know, and you don't know how to recruit people, so you may just want to spend some time doing it on your own until you learn those skills. So those are the reasons why you would want to stay on your own. Now we're going to break down the model of how it looks and how much you can earn. So I'm going to break it down. Now I'm going to take a very average number of clients here. I think realistically, and you may argue that you can do more, but on average from the coaches that we speak to and we work with, some can do loads, some can barely do any. The average is around 50 before people start forgetting shit and forgetting to get back to clients and just get overwhelmed with conversations and messages. Again, some coaches I know do way more than that. That's fine. But the average that we speak to, 50 seems to be a really good mark of being basically full. 40 to 50 for most coaches is the number that we usually find. So at 50, the example that we're going to use clients, we would assume that if you are working productively and effectively and you have good systems in your business, you're probably going to spend about half an hour a week on each client on average. Some weeks it might be less, some weeks it might be more, depends on how your program works, but on average, you will probably spend around 2 hours a month working with that client. That means on average, again, taking a 4-week month, just to make it easy for the maths, you're probably going to be spending about 25 hours a week on that. That's coaching. That's your first main job. I'm going to keep looking down to these notes here. So the second thing, if your clients stay for 6 months, you are realistically going to need about 8 clients a month to make that work. Okay, 6 8 to 48, assuming, maybe you make 9 sales one month or something like that, you're going to need about 8 sales. 8 sales is going to take you somewhere for the whole sale process, for getting everything boxed off, for chasing up the payment, blah, blah, blah. It's probably going to take you about an hour a sale. All right. So that's 8 hours of sales across the month that you're going to have to do. To even get those sales, you're probably going to need to do about 20 hours of sales calls throughout the month. And then you're probably going to need, maybe, depending on how good you are at lead generation, you're going to have to spend between 40 and 60 hours a month of generating those leads. Add on top of that, depending on how quick you are, 5 to 10 hours of content creation to get all your content done for the month, and then 5 to 10 hours a week of on the business stuff. That at short level will probably run you about 50 hours a week. Okay. If you take ages, you're a bit of a procrastinating bastard, or you're just a bit slow at some of these tasks, you're a bit new to them, it could take you up to 70 hours a week. Okay. And most people will fall in between those. There are some superstars that will get everything done faster. They're the exception rather than the rule. Most people end up in there. So now we'll get on to the money. So 50 clients, okay? Now the average price of online coaching in the UK actually varies massively depending on people's confidence, depending on people's thought process. We've probably got a pricing video that you can go and watch, and make sure you go watch that. Put a link to it up here. Okay, that'll explain different price models and why people choose certain prices. But from my understanding, for the most part, taking away the people that charge silly high stuff, because they're obviously very good and have a market that you can do that in, and people that are very low confidence and don't charge a lot, most coaches will charge anywhere between 150 and 300 pounds a month for their services, depending, like I said, on confidence, skill level, the market that they work in, and also just how many sales they make at each one. Obviously, you just got to work that out for yourself, but watch that sales video because that'll help you figure this out. So 50 clients at £150 a month will give you £7,500 a month of total revenue. If you are at £300 a month at the top end of that spectrum, that'll be £15,000 a month of revenue, all on your own at a 50 on the low end work week to 70 on the high end week. So that is the answer to how much you can earn as a solo online coach, anywhere from £7,500 a month to £15,000 a month. And that's actually what we do with our program. So we have two main programs. We have our 6-figure program for coaches that work on their own as a one-man band. And then we have our CEO program, which is when you start building businesses. And funnily enough, the people that go into the CEO program can be anywhere from £7,500 a month all the way up to £15,000 a month, depending on what they charge. Thank you very much for watching that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you want any more advice on that, find me on Instagram and send me a message, because the YouTube message doesn't work very well. So that's @Steve_FBU on Instagram. Drop us a message about your pricing, drop us a message about what you're actually doing with your time, and we'll help you out. See you later.